how's it going, everyone? I was gonna talk about the next part of like things I wish I knew when I was younger and understood, like things I wish somebody had sat down and said to me and explained to me through. But I was kind of thinking about God and Jesus. So I think I might do something a little bit more on the God and Jesus line, because I've only recently become a believer, like a true believer. Like most of my life, I never believed in God or in Jesus or anything like that. I went to church a couple times when I was young. I didn't really like it. So I decided that it wasn't something that was for me. It's only been recently that I've started this journey. The one thing I'm getting stuck on is, like, how do you serve God and Jesus without just serving yourself? Because like the more that I look at it, it's like Jesus wasn't like an overly successful man. You know, he was very conflicted, it seems, a lot of the time. And you don't even know what happened in his childhood or anything like that. There's no records of like his childhood or anything. So you're just left to kind of wonder as to what happened to get him there. Like in nowadays, how do you serve Jesus? How do you serve God other than just being a good person? Like if you run a business and you're a multi-millionaire and you have a shit ton of money and you're truly God believing in that, but you like hoard the bulk of the money for yourself and your own family, even though you don't need it, like are you still a true Christian? Like if you're not donating or going above and beyond, considering that Jesus gave his life so that we could all be forgiven by God until the second coming of Jesus, where all the true believers will, you know, go up into heaven and shit like that. So where is it that, you know, where's like that middle ground? So I'm very stuck. I've been opening my heart to God and I've been able to forgive myself a lot, but I still feel like such a failure. Everything that I pursue doing, writing, drawing, working, it seems so unfulfilling, and it seems like I'm going against what God would want of me to do, but I'm not even sure of what God would want me to do. You know, if you truly want to be more Jesus-like, do you give up all your possessions and then like start walking barefoot around the world preaching? I've noticed that people who do that tend to get looked at like a bunch of fuckwits. They do it anyway because it's, you know, that's their mission. Now I think of Jesus, about what he gave up so that we could be here now. Like he might have been able to become the ultimate man, like a literal expression of God in the universe, like a physical expression. Makes me wonder if like he could have just turned around and then all the Romans and the people who were making him do the cross, like, is there something he could have said and done? Could God have given him the power? Did he have a choice to make? Because it comes across to me like he made the choice to sacrifice himself rather than it be destiny. He had a choice to make. Do I be God? Right? Do I be God? Or do I sacrifice myself as a man to show all the other people that this is how far as God I'm willing to go for them? Because I will rise again one day, and when I do, it'll be a different time. So I'm willing to give up my life and everything that I could be, like the eternal being here in the universe. And it's like, fuck, man, you must have to trust God 100 billion% to be like, have Jesus's powers. You can heal people, you can do all this stuff. Like, who knows how far he could have pushed it. He could bring people back from the dead. Like, and what, you have no other powers? Like, you can't persuade someone through love to like not do what they're doing, even though there's like 100 different times where he was able to do that. Like this time he just chose not to. Like, that's fucking powerful, bro. And even with God, it's like, a lot of people will say, like, why is there cancer, or why do children die, or why is this, or why is there rape if there's a God? Like, what if that's the decision God had to make in order for the world, the universe, to become this perfect place of existence? Like, what if that's the decision God had to make? What if that's the sacrifice? He has to watch us all because he trusts and loves us so much. Then it's like, where's my part in that? Is my part just to be a carpet layer, have a couple kids? Like, I have other dreams and aspirations, but I never realised any of them until I was basically 30 years old. Now I feel like I wasted the bulk of my life. But I wonder, like, is this what God's choice was because there's something greater for me coming? Was it just something I had to learn that I didn't really want? I'm still stuck with so many questions that it's like, you go talk to like a religious person and they'll tell you to like go back to the scripture or just trust the process. But I don't think it's enough information. Like, there's got to be something else there that we're not seeing. Because otherwise, why wouldn't all these Christians in the world, like, when I look at the church, right? The church, whatever, your church, your whatever you go to church-wise, it's like if they collected donations and then they use those donations to pay off people's mortgages, like how quickly would everybody at the church own a house? If everybody was, instead of like the church taking the money for themselves, if they used it really to help their people who go to their church, the people who worship there, how quickly could you pay off someone's debt and change somebody's life if you had 1,000 people giving $100 a week? Like, how quickly could you pay off 1,000 people's houses at $100 a week? That's like 10 grand a week. Like, how many rents, how many properties could you do in 1 year? Like, that's $1 million a year. In 10 years, how many houses could you have paid off? 20, 30, 40, 50? If some people who go to the church earn 25 grand a week and have already got a lot of stuff, and they give 5,000, and there's 100 people who give 5,000, and then there's 300 people who give 400. Like, how quickly, if you've got 10,000 people who are giving you 100 plus, anywhere from $100 to $1,000 a week, like, how quickly can you change a person's life? Because to me, that would definitely show me God was real. And if I didn't believe, like, if I went to church and then the church was like, oh, you need a house, like, yeah, oh, this person needs a house, we're raising money, like, if you can donate, and then all of a sudden there's like 80 grand in one day. They're like, yeah, look, we're going to get you a house, pay for 6 months, the person at our church has got this job opportunity, they know someone here, like, no one would ever be homeless or hungry ever again. Well, that's how I look at it anyway, because it's like, I searched for so many years trying to understand why I was the way I was, why I was so fucked up in my head. Like, I went through Buddhism, I studied like the Hindus, the Sikhs, I studied Islam, I studied Judea, I studied Rastafarianism, like I studied heaps, I studied the Illuminati, like all that type of shit. And it's like, it all just led me into like selfish places where I couldn't believe. But the moment I started to give myself over to Jesus and God and truly believe, I felt something come over me, like a deep sense of forgiveness. Like, I can't really explain what it was. It was like I wasn't a body anymore. It was like all my atoms that make me up as this physical being together instantly dispersed, and now I was just a bunch of singular vibrating particles, and all I could do was cry. But it felt so good to cry. It was like what I needed to do. And I just burst out in tears, crying. But since then, I've been struggling because it's like I found myself falling back into this place of telling myself that I don't have any worth. because I can't seem to break, you know, behavior patterns. And it's like the behavior patterns are things like, you know, I'm reasonably good at my job when I'm switched on, but I feel like going to my job and giving myself to my job completely is going against what God would want of me, because I don't think God would want me to go be a carpet layer. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's what God's plan for me was. If God's plan really is like we all just have to do our small little part, help one person here and there, because in the future then, you know, Jesus is going to come back and save everyone, then that's just not enough for me. It doesn't replace my feelings of no worth or value. It's like my life's even more worthless. And it's like, well, why do I feel that way? I don't feel like anybody loves or cares about me. I feel like no matter what I do, no matter how much I try to help someone, or it's like as soon as you have a differing point of view and you stand your ground on it, even if you're not being aggressive, it's like you instantly just become this bad person. I don't know, maybe I'm just crying. I'm just asking anybody else if maybe they feel this as well, you know. But yeah, it's a little video about God.